everyone. I hope you guys are all doing well. Today I am coming to you from my living room. It is cold and wet and rainy outside, and me and my daughter had to run her car to get some work done on it. So we dropped it off and then went to do some furniture shopping, and then back to pick up her car, and then I came back home. And after being out in the wet, damp, and cold weather, I just wanted to curl up on my couch here with my favorite big blanket. So I decided that I would go ahead and do the next video that I was going to do right here from my couch. And this next video I've gotten a few requests for regarding how I found my way to health and happiness. And I thought this video was such a good idea when it was requested that I really wanted to put a lot of thought into it. I try to keep my videos reasonably short, and I just want to get as much information in as humanly possible, and keep the message real specific. So I'm gonna try to do this, but again, this video, like one of my previous ones, is probably going to have so much information that it's going to be kind of scattered, and it may be worthwhile to listen to it a couple times, just because when information does get scattered, it gets kind of some of the message gets lost. So this is just going to be sharing my way to health and happiness, and I have said this before and I'm going to say it again, and this is probably one of the first things I said once I had all my proper diagnoses and everything and was put on oxygen. I decided at that moment that I was going to be the healthiest sick person anybody ever knew. So that was where my journey began, with turning everything around from my attitude about the oxygen to getting to be able to get back to my strength and doing things again and living as close to normal life as possible. I guess I have always been a glass half full person. So I've always been a person that looks at the positive side of things and not really a complainer. We just take what's given to us and keep it moving. And that's how I've always been, and that's how I've done things. Even when I was admitted into the hospital with congestive heart failure, I was bound and determined to get my 10,000 steps in, and I did that night walking the hospital halls. You know, after my right heart cath, I came out and went to my room, and my husband brought me the computer. It was my night to do, we have a newspaper. It was, well, an advertising publication. It was my night to put the classified ads together, and it is my routine and has been for the past 25 years. So he brought the computer, and I went to work and stayed up till about 2 in the morning working on that and completing it. So I've always just been a person that keeps it moving and gets things done that needed to be done. What's been difficult, I guess, is with this is it slows me down and I cannot do as much as I would like to do. So I guess finding my way to happiness and health really involved 3 different things, and it was part of what I mentioned in one of the last videos of my treatment plan, which my treatment plan included my doctor's orders that make sense to me. So in other words, with that stuff, I question everything. Everything that they want me to do, I ask them why we're doing it and what are the effects of it and what's supposed to happen and what might happen. And, you know, I want to weigh all angles and know all things. And then after they tell me what they tell me, then I go home and dig up as much stuff about it as I can online, from reputable sources, of course, because not all information is created equal. So you want to just make sure that the information that you're getting is valid information. So the treatment plan, my treatment plan, includes 3 things. First is what the doctor says, of that what makes sense to me. I don't just let him do all the thinking for me. I am an active participant. Second is exercise. I've always been a person that said if you don't use it, you lose it. But with COPD and PH both, it is definitely tenfold important. If you don't lose it, you will. If you don't use it, you will definitely lose it, and it doesn't take long. You can sit at home for a week or sit at home for a couple weeks, and you'll find it's extremely hard to get moving again. And it's not just hard in your mind, it'll literally be hard in your lungs too. So I do a minimum of 3 days a week exercise, and sometimes when I feel like my body definitely needs a change up, I will push it. So I'll do 3 days of full exercise, 30 to 45 minutes, and then maybe 2 more days or 3 more days of additional short exercises, which are harder than normal. So I might only do 15 minutes, but at a faster speed or an elevated pace. So a minimum of 3 days exercise, and this has to be religiously, because I definitely notice a change if I just sit around a week. And what's really hard about this is I've always been a person who is naturally slim, so I've never had to exercise a day in my life, and I got all of my exercise just from being active. But just regular activity isn't enough, because what happens is just doing regular activity becomes harder and harder, so then you avoid it. And if you don't push yourself past that point of regular activity, then what happens is you become less and less fit for the regular activity. So it's super, super important to push yourself past the point of regular activity just so that you can keep up with your regular activity. So exercise is a key part of my health and happiness treatment plan. And last is diet. Eating certain foods definitely affects how your lungs work, how your body processes the air. If you're eating a lot of carbohydrates, you're adding extra carbon to your body, which makes your lungs work extra hard. If you're eating too much salt, it's going to retain fluids, and that's going to end up in your lungs, and it's going to also make it extra hard to breathe. So just knowing how certain foods affect your body, and not everybody's the same. So like some people can't drink milk because it makes extra mucus. I personally don't have that problem, and I absolutely love milk. So it's completely a matter of trial and error. And so you want to treat yourself like you're your own science project. So you're going to try things, see how you feel, try it again, see if it's consistent, and then taking stuff away and see if that helps how you feel. So with the diet, I try to eat the best that I can and still live a relatively normal life. So we do things on the weekend. So I may have to eat out some when we are out doing things. And with those, I try to pick super healthy choices. And I have my moments of weakness. You know, we ended up in a Chick-fil-A parking lot. I am absolutely a Chick-fil-A fanatic. But they have so much salt in them. And I can taste it. I know right away. So I try to avoid them at all costs. This particular weekend, we were having a really super tough time trying to choose what to eat. We ended up in a parking lot. He almost went in to get us sandwiches, and I decided to just Google on my phone how much salt does a Chick-fil-A sandwich have. And just looking at my phone, I knew that we needed to leave, and so we did. Left the parking lot immediately and went and found an alternative choice. So, you know, just keeping the consequences in mind. And it might not always be the perfect thing, but I never throw caution to the wind and just go all out. So food is a big thing. And once you start realizing how much your food affects your breathing, you'll become a fanatic about this too, because it can make a huge difference. And I guess it becomes the hardest when you start feeling better. When you start feeling better, it's easy to start cheating more. And so I am in the process of learning that, yes, this really affects me a lot. So keeping that in mind, I'm just trying to see how long I can stay on the straight and narrow path with the minimal cheats, and see if that takes away any of my, bad breathing days. See how low of a number I can get the bad breathing days down to. And final, which I'm not sure everybody would include it on their list, but definitely a positive mental outlook would be the last part of my happy, healthy self. And with that, I guess the place that I begin is, I think I've said this before too, is if I was told that my experience that I'm going through right now is permanent, then what qualities would I need to have, or what would I need to do to become at peace with my situation? And so when I ask myself that question, it also helps me to realize that most people are unhappy because they're living in the past, and what I needed to do, or they're unhappy because they're uncertain about the future. So what I needed to do was let go of the past, and what that means for me really is letting go of the person who I was and all the things that I could do. Let go of that and not dwell on it, and just become focused on what's now and what I can do now, and then not worry about the future. So a lot of people, when they are diagnosed with something, they look to see what the prognosis is, and they find out that it's progressive, and then they become obsessed with what's going to happen next. This started to happen at first, and then I decided that, look, I can obsess about the future and what's going to happen next, or I can enjoy the moment that I'm in and just be present with this moment and my moment of awareness. Another thing that helps tremendously with happiness and keeping a positive mental outlook is to be in a state of gratitude. When I think about it, I live an amazing life. Even with my disease, I live an amazing life. So I have nothing to not be grateful for. Everybody as they age is going to go through something, and I'm still doing a lot of what I like to do. So I might have limits here and there, but overall, I'm still doing a lot of what I like to do. So with that, I definitely have a lot to be grateful for. Also, there's moments like the other night. We were watching a tribute that was being done to a retired San Francisco player on Sunday Night Football. And what struck us about this particular player was we met him several years back in a sports memorabilia store where he was signing autographs. He was retired then too. Now he's probably about 58 years old. So at that time he was probably about 52 or 50-ish. So it was 5, 6, 7 years ago. And we met him. We got some material signed from him. And he looked great. I mean, he was older, but he was definitely still athletic looking and healthy. And this tribute to him for him on Sunday night was extremely emotional because he's now fighting ALS. And he's in a wheelchair, and things can change so quickly. And I'm thankful for my battle, because I'm not sure, if I could handle fighting his. So there's a lot of situations where I look around and I see other people in other situations, and I'm okay. I'm okay. So that puts me in a space of gratitude. And there's also moments where I might be at the farm with my daughter and she's riding, and I might feel, I don't know, just maybe a little bit, down because I can't ride anymore. I just watch. If I do ride, it's at a very slow pace. But I watch, I'm out there, I help out with what I can, but most of all, I'm just on the sidelines watching. But then when we sit outside at the farm and I'm watching her ride, and the sun comes from behind a cloud and I can feel the warmth, and then a breeze comes and you can feel it on your skin, and you hear the leaves and the sound of the hoof prints, and everything. It's just amazing to be alive. And so with that, we don't always get to choose what path we have to take in life, but we can choose how we react to it. And it does me no good to, I'm going to be in the same boat if I'm unhappy about it, or actually probably I'm in a better boat if I'm happy about it. So I can choose to react negatively to all these things, or I can choose to be positive, and I'm sure I will have a much better life. So life, I guess, is a series of choices that we make, and you know, when we are faced with situations like this, the most that we can do is make the best of it. So I guess that's how my path is to a happy, healthy life. And I can get more into exercise routines or diet at another time. But some other videos that I have that may help, if you haven't watched them already, is video number 4, Don't Get Lost in Your Diagnosis. This video, these are the ones that I don't think these videos get as much views, but they're so incredibly important that I would definitely take the time to view them. So that was number 4, Don't Get Lost in Your Diagnosis. Video number 11, Self-Awareness to Improve Our Situation. Video number 13, Being Present. And lastly, video 19, Rethinking Yard Work. And I choose that one to mention now because it's something that I really enjoy doing, but I had to figure out a different way to do it to continue to enjoy it. So it just talks about that whole process of finding a different way. And so definitely 4, 11, 13, and 19 would be great videos to continue on your path to happiness and healthiness. So I hope this video helps some. I will always continue to get more in depth with each subject, but for now, thanks for watching. If you're not a subscriber already, please do. And if anybody has any more videos that they would be interested in seeing certain topics covered, I would be happy for suggestions. I again am going to be covering insurance soon before the November 15th sign-up date starts, so you can watch for that one in the near future. But until then, take care and be well.